Hi, my name is Chris. Welcome to my channel. Today I'm doing Leetcode problem 830, positions of large groups in JavaScript. This is considered an easy problem. It says in a string S of lowercase letters, these letters from consecutive groups of the same character. For example, a string like S equals that. That's groups this equal A. 2 B's, 4 X's, Z, and 2 Y's. A group is identified by an interval start n, where start and end denote the start and end indices inclusive of the group. In the above, these XXXX has the interval of 3 and 6. That's because here the first X is 0, 1, 2, 3. 4, 5, 6, last X is 6. So that are the indices there. The group is considered large if it has 3 or more characters. So I'm just going to get this out of the way. Let's just say there's only 3 X's, right? Then you would have 3 and 5. So basically, a group is going to be considered large if the second number minus the first is greater than 1. Okay, that's how we're going to determine that. Return the intervals of every large group sorted in increasing order by start index. So if we have this, our output is this, because the 4 X's is the only large group. This is not going to have any large groups. Then this here, we're going to have DDD, which is going to be this 3, 5, E, which is 6, 9, and then BBB, which is 12, 14. Okay, I think it's best if we grab this input and output. Let's move over to CodePen. Solve the sucker. Alright, so here's our variable. Let's comment out our output. Let's create our function. What we're going to eventually do is we're going to push everything into a result variable. Set that to an empty array, and at the end of the day, we're going to return that result variable. Just loading the console so we know what is going on. Okay, yep, we see result. It's an empty array. Okay, so what we're going to do is we're going to loop through S. I'll just use a for loop. So if I is less than S dot length, I plus plus. And so what we're going to say here is we're going to have 3 different scenarios. So we're going to have an if, else, if, else statement. So the first if is going to be if S at I, okay, if that does not equal, we're going to create a variable called focus. Set it with let because we're going to be changing this. So if at SI does not equal focus, that's our first scenario. Second scenario is if s at I equals focus and s dot length minus 1 I'm sorry, if I equals s dot length minus 1. So, all right, let's figure out what we're going to tackle first here. So basically, focus is going to be whatever letter we're on, right? So first thing we're going to do is we're going to loop through this, and we're going to set focus to A. Well, first thing we're going to check if this letter equals focus, right? If it doesn't, right here, reset focus to S at I. And then we're also going to create another variable called temp. This is going to be an array. And we're just going to set it to, by default to 0, 0. And so, if this doesn't equal what focus is, we're going to set it to focus. And then we're going to set temp at 0 to I. And then we're going to set temp at 1 to 0. So what we're doing here is we're basically saying so we come to A, right? A does not equal an empty string, so now we reset focus to A, and then we're going to make temp I, so that's the starting index of this new character, this new focus character A. And then the second variable is going to be 0, right? And so the other scenario, this is else, which is saying this letter is the same as focus, right? So here we sent temp 1 equals I. Now, when we come here, right? So we're at D at this moment, focus is C, right? So we set temp 0 to I, which is going to be 3. And then we go through the loop again, we get to this D, we see that, oh, D is the same as focus because it's currently D, so we set temp 1 to, not I, or not 1, but I, so we set that to 0, 1, 2, 3, 4. It's going to go around again, then we set it to 5, and then at this point, we come here, and then we're going to reset focus and temp. But at this point, we should be pushing temp into results, right? But to cut down on our code and increase performance time, we can do an if check in front of it to make sure it is a, what do they call it, a large group, right? To make sure there's more than 3 in the group, or 3 or more, I should say. So the way we can do that is we can say if temp at I sorry, at 1 minus temp at 0, like I said, is greater than 1 because for all these, 5 minus 3, that equals 2, 9 minus 6, 3, 14 minus 12 is 2, right? It's got to be greater than 1. So if that's greater than 1, we need to result dot push. And I'm going to do something here intentionally to make this not correct. Okay. So we're not getting what we want. And that is because we're pushing, and this is kind of interesting too, watch this. This really messed with me when I was first trying to figure this out. Okay, so here's all our temps at this point, right? Which is what we want to see, right? But then when we return results, you're just having the last index and the first index. So that is because every time that we update temp, it's also updating it in the result array. It took me a minute to find that one. So we need to use the spread syntax here, which will now push a shallow copy of the array into temp, and I've got to put that in array. There we go, and we got what we want. Okay, so now there's one gotcha in this else if. So let's say that we get rid of that, right? Now we lose our last in our array. That's because we're pushing into temp only if s at I does not equal focus. Well, at this point here, right, we get to this b and our focus is b, right? So right here, basically this code is doing nothing. So that's why we have this. So if it equals focus and I is equal to s dot length minus 1, so if it's the last element in the string, then we kind of do a combination of both these things where we set that and we take this and push it in. Whoops, don't do that. Now we get what we want. All right, and this should work. Let's take all this. Let's copy it. Paste it in the Leetcode. Format our code, run our tests, and submit. Oof, passes, but it's super slow. I don't remember it being that slow. Let me try that again. Oh yeah, it's really slow. Okay. Take a quick peek. Why it would be that slow? Try one more time. Alright, looks like I'm going to have to look into this one, find a more efficient way to do it. Anyways, hopefully you found this video enjoyable and helpful. If you did, please like it. It helps my channel to grow. If you'd like to see more like these, please like and subscribe to my channel. I hope to see you again real soon.